Today's talk is on a favorite topic of mine, Chromebook for Seniors. I have given this presentation many times as What the Heck is a Chromebook and Chromebook for Business, but today it is about seniors. Really, a Chromebook is for everyone. When I retired as a physician 10 years ago, I had a secret passion to be a teacher. We bought a home in a resort with a large computer club, and the rest is history. My experience in teaching seniors Windows computing was frustrating for me and frustrating for my students. iOS was simpler, and finally I just told everybody to buy an iPad. We now have 3 4-week courses on iPads. We have a 4-week introductory course, a 4-week intermediate course, and a 4-week advanced course. So to become proficient in an iPad is about 3 months. I can teach anyone how to use a Chrome browser in about 1 hour. That's all you need to know to use a Chromebook, just how to use a Chrome browser. So over the next 40 minutes, let me share my passion by explaining the Chromebook and why you should use it. Now, Chromebooks are designed for seniors because of simplicity, security. They're going to save you money, and they're very fast. So instead of being like the fella on the top here, I want our seniors to be happy people like the 2 pictures I have on the bottom screen there. I want to give you a bit of history about Chromebooks. The first Chromebooks were made in 2011, so this is relatively new technology. The original Chromebooks were made by Acer and Samsung. They were sold directly from Google and their business partners. They were not marketed really to the general public. They're marketed to school boards. And they were largely favored for their low cost. Now, when Google designed these Chromebooks, they designed them with 2 major properties. One was security, and the other is network administration. Now, we're not going to talk about network administration in this particular session, but there's a whole other side of Chromebooks which makes them very easy to run on large networks. You can imagine if you have 3,000 students at a high school, managing all those Chromebooks on a network. So it's a new operating system that was developed with specific goals in mind, and one is security and the other was network administration. Now, the market share in education in school districts in the United States and Canada, currently about 25% of the school districts use Chromebooks. And it is predicted by 2020, in 3 years, that this will move to 70%. This is a very large growth in the market over the next 3 years. At the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas this spring of 2017, everyone was showing off Chromebooks. The PC market is sort of flat. They're not selling that many machines. So all the major manufacturers want to move into this big production of Chromebooks that's going to occur over the next 3 years. Now, I wanted to go back and look at a bit about the history of education and tell you a little bit about a personal experience of mine. If you look at the left side of this slide, you'll see this is how the old school was taught with books. About 10 or 12 years ago, Apple dropped the seeds that sort of dropped the seeds and allowed them to grow, indicating iPads are essential for a good education. And you soon found that all our schools had iPads in them. Now, it's very interesting because my daughter and her husband are international teachers. 8 years ago, I visited them in New Zealand teaching, and all the schools used exclusively iPads. They then got promotions and went to Singapore, and guess what? All the schools used iPads, and they rotated them every 2 to 3 years. They now teach in Beijing, China. Again, all the big schools there, all iPads. So It is truly amazing when you travel around the world and you see the scope and how many of these iPads were sold. Now, this was a clip that I took out of the newspaper that occurred in 2013 to give you an idea how much Los Angeles was paying for iPads. According to the district's latest budget disclosure, they were paying $770 an iPad. That's about $400 million worth of iPads, and they purchased 520,000 iPads, and they had a budget of $1 billion just for the technology. And that is just the Los Angeles School Board. So there are enormous numbers of these units sold. This is all being replaced. This is being replaced largely by Chromebooks. All school districts in Canada, the United States, have one common issue, and that's that they all are short of money. So the Chromebook is a big feature of this, where they can replace the iPads at a fraction of the cost. And over the next 3 years, you're going to see about 70% of the school districts in the United States and Canada all using Chromebooks. Now, Judy Taylor, one of your board members, sent me this along, and this is some pictures of her high school who just bought 23,000 Chromebooks. And you'll see, and these are for the years 2018, 2019, and these are for junior and senior high schools. And you'll see the Chromebooks can be put in cases. They're for charging, and you'll see some of the other things that schools do with them. But that's a lot of Chromebooks, and there are going to be a lot of Chromebooks sold in the next 3 years. So what computer to buy? The Windows Experience for Seniors. As I've mentioned to you before, if you look at the top left-hand side here, you'll see the typical problems associated with Windows use is how do you use it? In the slide to the right here, you'll see how does this darn thing work? And it ends up as a big headache. And so you end up being, this is my class here on the bottom right, and you'll end up spending a lot of time in classes trying to learn how to use Windows, when in fact really all you want to do is surf the web, check your banking, look at Facebook, and send some email. So when you're sitting there and you're making a decision on what computer to buy, and I put this up, it's sort of a blue screen, and you can see this fella's concentrating. I want you to purchase a Chromebook, and this is the computer that will be easy for you to use and very secure. So, Chromebook for seniors. The nice thing about this is you only have to learn how to use a Chrome browser. I can teach you that in an hour. You can purchase your Chromebook for around $150 to $200, so there's very little cost. There is no security software required. If you completely mess it up, we'll tell you about power washing. You will never hear the word Microsoft Windows, and you'll have lots of different models to choose from. And as you'll see, you'll be a very happy couple. Who makes Chromebooks? And what is a Chromebook? We'll talk about. First of all, I want to look at the bottom slide here, and you'll see that between consumer and business Chromebooks sold worldwide, you see a steady growth of Chromebooks. Chromebooks are really going to be, in the next 3 years, a major computer that everyone's going to be using. If you look on the right side of your screen here, you're going to see that the Chromebook is made by all the major computer companies. Samsung has the market share at about 65%. You see Lenovo makes them, Hewlett-Packard makes them, Dell makes them, and Acer makes them. So you see all the computer manufacturers make Chromebooks. Now, this is a dark slide, and I put it up so it's a full screen. This is about cybersecurity. In our computer club, I'm the program director, and all year long I have endless speakers come and talk on cybersecurity, how to keep your virus definitions up to date, what virus programs to use, what anti-malware program you need to use. And there's a lot of emphasis in all our programs on security. However, with the Chromebook, you just turn it on and never have to worry about that. It's all done for you. Now, this is something that you don't have to know, but I wanted to go over and explain it, explain how the security worked and how it was set up. And this is why the Chrome operating system has never been hacked and probably never will be. So, and of course, this was, you must remember this because, of course, it was designed recently. It's a recent operating system as compared to iOS and Windows, which have been around for 30 years. So the first thing that you need to understand is that every single Chromebook has a security chip in it. This is called a Trusted Platform Module, or TPM chip. And you'll see the chip off to the right here. And on this chip is security software. This is, it's lockable and encrypted in the memory here. No one can get in here. It's locked and encrypted. And if you want to make a Chromebook, you have to buy this chip from Google. And as you see down here, you have to put it into the Chromebook. So every Chromebook has this locked, encrypted security chip in their device. So what happens now? On the Chromebook hard drive, there's actually 2 copies of the Chrome operating system. The Chrome operating system is a fairly small operating system. Unlike Windows or iOS, it doesn't need much horsepower to run because it's very small. And that means that the computers can be built a lot cheaper because they don't need this huge amount of horsepower. Now, on the hard drive, there's a partition, and there are actually 2 copies of the Chrome operating system operating at any one time. There's a primary copy and a secondary copy. They both run simultaneously. So here's what happens. When you turn your Chromebook on, the primary copy of your Chrome operating system goes through 3 passes on this security chip. It has to go through a low-level pass as indicated in yellow. It then has to go through a second pass, which is indicated in green, and a third pass, which is indicated in red. Now, if the Chrome operating system has been altered in any way, it will not pass through this security, and this security software, of course, is on this chip. If it fails, then the primary copy is automatically reverted to the secondary copy. So the secondary copy will run through the security chip. If the secondary copy fails, then automatically your Chromebook will download a fresh copy of the Chrome operating system from Google and install it onto your machine. Now, what would the time frame for that be? Well, it takes about 8 seconds to run through the security check for each copy of your operating system. And if you reinstalled your whole operating system on a Chromebook, it would take about 2 minutes. Now, I've been around Windows computers an awful long time, and if I have to reinstall a Windows operating system, it's a headache. It stresses me out, and it usually takes all day, and there's always problems. So 2 minutes up and running, and oh my gosh, it works well. So this is how this is how Chromebooks keep you safe. Now, the other thing that's interesting is you'll see here in this slide, these are the old spinning drives, which Chromebooks don't have. Chromebooks all have SSDs. Now, I mentioned to you before about 2 copies of your Chrome OS running. Here's a novel idea. When you boot your computer up and you're using your primary copy, it's the secondary copy that's being updated with new virus definitions, anti-malware, or operating system updates, so it doesn't bother you. You can continue using your computer. You will never get that experience you get in Windows, where you're in the middle of a presentation and it decides to upgrade your computer. This all occurs in the secondary copy, and when you turn your computer off and you turn it back on again, it just switches copies. So then you get the new version, the updated version loaded on there. So it works very well. Now, here's another picture. For those of you who want to know all the different parts of a Chromebook, I put it on the left side here, but mostly to show you that a Chromebook is a real computer. It's exactly the same as a normal laptop. But I want to draw your attention to the slide on the right side here. The traditional operating system, such as Windows, you'll see here is that you have all these programs that are running, but the applications, all these applications have the same permission as the user. So if one of these gets infected with malware, then they all get infected. In the Chrome operating system, the Chrome operating system uses a system called sandboxing. And what this does is it limits the web applications to one tab. So basically, if anything, so all the different tabs you have open and different programs running, they are sandboxed into that tab. And if anything happens within that one tab, then it won't spread to the rest of your system. And this is called sandboxing. Now, for those of you who do use Windows, this type of technology is being introduced this fall in the enterprise version of Windows 10, and Microsoft has announced they would like to see this in their general operating system in another 2 or 3 years. This has been built into the Chrome operating system since it was designed 7 years ago. So, from a security point of view, the automatic updates go into your secondary copy, so it doesn't bother you. They will just revert to your primary copy when you turn your computer on. With sandboxing, with the verified boot, and all your data is encrypted on your Chromebook. It's all encrypted. And with the recovery mode we're going to talk about, this is the most secure device that you can purchase today on the market. For peace of mind, as I said, Chromebooks are automatically kept up to date, so you'll always have the latest virus protection along with the latest features like voice search. Best of all, your Chromebook will not slow down over time. So, Chromebook, laptop, which one should I buy? There are some purchase considerations that I wanted to go over with you. Under the hood, as I said, if you look to the right, you'll see that a Chromebook is like any other computer. However, you don't need the horsepower to run the Chrome operating system you do, as with iOS and Windows machines. So some considerations we're going to talk about are screen size. We're going to talk a little bit about keyboards. Now, your hard drive does not have to be that big, and because most of what you're going to be doing on a Chromebook is web-based. But it does have an SSD hard drive, and they vary in size from 16, 32 to 64 gigabytes. Your RAM, again, RAM is between 2 and 4 gigabytes. It does not need much RAM just because the operating system is small. We're going to talk a little bit about the CPUs. Bluetooth, they all have Bluetooth. They'll all have USB and HDMI ports, and they all connect to Wi-Fi. So the cost of that is anywhere between $150 and $500. I wanted to point out one thing in purchase consideration that you need to know about. On the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a graphics card output here, and this is called VGA. This is how we hook external monitors up to computers and or slide projector or projection screens. You will not see this VGA port in any new computers now. All laptops made today contain an HDMI port, and this is how we connect external screens and projectors to your machine. Now, if you buy a PC with Windows on it, 100% of PCs will come with an HDMI port. What I wanted to point out to you today in the Chromebook talk is that some Chromebooks do not come with an HDMI port. And for example, if a company was going to make 30,000 computers for grade 4s, they may decide that to save some money, they're not going to put an HDMI port in, because a grade 4 would probably never hook an external monitor on or use it for a projection. But some of these units end up back into the circulation for public sale. And so you want to make sure that when you're purchasing your Chromebook, that the specs, it does have an HDMI port. Because if you don't have one of these, you won't be able to connect an external monitor to it. In purchase considerations, we're going to talk a little bit about screen size. Some of them flip as a 2-in-1. Some of them have touch screens. We're going to talk about the Play Store issue in a minute. Some have styluses for drawing. As I've said, I want you to ensure that you have an HDMI port. Now, no Chromebooks have DVDs. DVD is a technology that's pretty much gone, but there are probably a lot of you who do have DVD drives. You can plug a DVD drive into a USB port of a Chromebook, and it will see the drive. You know, if you have MP3 files or JPEGs on there, it will see those, and you can use them. However, if it has software on there that requires Windows, it won't run. Again, no Chromebooks come with DVDs. I wanted to talk about your screen size, and I want to give you some personal recommendations that I have. Now, in a Chromebook, you can, as with most laptops, you can choose roughly 12 inches to 15-inch size of your screen. I have always, with my laptops, had 15-inch screens. 17 inches to me is just too big a laptop, so I've always had 15 inches. I recently purchased, downsized to a 13-inch screen because I like to use it as a tablet. And when you flip this back, if you turn and you flip it back, and as I've shown you here, you can use it as a tablet. And personally, this is my personal thing, is I find that the 15-inch, if you flip it back, is too big a tablet. I don't like that. So I'm really keen on the 13-inch screen. But you know, as you get older, your eyesight gets harder to see. I connect this to a 34-inch monitor, so that's why I use the HDMI port, and I just connect this to a big monitor, and it works just fine. And then I can flip it and use it as a tablet. Touchscreen's important, I think. I think most Chromebooks will come with touchscreens. Certainly, if you want to use it as a tablet and you want to flip it, then a touchscreen is important for you. Again, here's an example of a Chromebook being flipped over and used in a tablet mode. Now, I know that many of you are going to be going out and looking for a Chromebook and wanting to buy a Chromebook. So I've chosen 3 I'd like you to consider. I'm going to give you some big tips today, which hopefully is going to save you some money when you go to purchase your Chromebook. These were just added this week, and I searched out the prices on Amazon. So as of August 15th, these prices are true, but of course they would vary every day. I want to talk about 3 Chromebooks. The latest Chromebook made by Samsung is the Samsung Chromebook Pro. This is the flagship model that has just been released over the last month. The runner-up to this has been the Samsung Chromebook Plus. And we're going to talk a little bit about this machine. This machine has been around for about 6 months. I'd also like you to consider the Asus Chromebook, the C302. This has been around for about 6 months and is an excellent product. Let's look at the 2 Samsungs here. The thing that is really stunning about these 2 units is the screen. This is Both these units have the same screen, but their screen is 2400 by 1600 with a nit of 400. Now, nit is just a reflection of how bright they are, which means they are a very, very bright screen. Both these units have exactly the same screen. This is a stunning, stunning screen. Let me tell you that. So the difference between these two is the processor. And in the Samsung Chromebook Plus, there's an ARM processor, which, without getting technical, it's based on RISC technology. It's been used in Chromebooks for a long time. In the Samsung Chromebook Pro, the new one that's just come out, Samsung put the Intel Core M3 processor in. Now, this is mostly designed for Windows, so we wondered how fast would this make it any faster. So we've done speed tests on these two, and if you load these two up and you have about 8 or 10 tabs open, you run videos, and you try to really put the system under a huge load, you will actually see some hesitancy in the Chromebook Plus. It does slow down a bit, but we're talking about not usual things that you'd be doing with your Chromebook. We put them through really big jobs to do. So indeed, the Core M3 processor is a little bit faster. But under usual circumstances, I don't think you're really going to notice a big difference. They both have styluses, so you can write on them. They flip and they go to tab mode, which means you can turn them over and flip them. Now, why I'm really want you to watch this, because the Samsung Pro has retails for $549, and as of August 15th, it sold discounted on Amazon for $499. The Samsung Chromebook Plus, it costs $449 and is discounted now to $419. So what I want everyone to pay attention is, I'd like you to look at this unit here, the Samsung Chromebook Plus. Samsung is going to be under enormous pressure to sell tons of these Chromebook Pros, and I bet they have warehouses of the Plus still sitting around. I predict that you're going to see this price drop substantially. We're now in a big back-to-school market leading up to October and Black Friday, and I am sure that this unit here is going to drop to $350, and you may even see it as low as $300. Let me tell you, that is the deal of a lifetime, to get a screen like this with a machine for around $350 or $300. Even for $419, I think it's a good deal. But I'm going to tell you, watch for this price to drop substantially. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Asus. I love Asus. Asus makes a great, and this is a wonderful Chromebook. If you are a typer, I put this on here because it has an excellent keyboard with a backlit keypad. If you are really a typer, then I'm not. I'm just sort of a hunt and peck guy. But this is an outstanding keyboard. The Samsung keyboards are okay. The size of the keys tend to get a little bit smaller as you go out a bit away, and it's not a backlit keyboard. So if you are a touch typist and you're really keen on typing, then consider the Chromebook Flip. I think this is a good model. They've already discounted it $100 in keeping with trying to keep up with these two. So watch this price as well. I think it's going to continue to drop. So these are three new machines that I think you should consider. Now, one of my favorite Chromebooks is the Chromebook Lenovo N22. When you look at this and you look at the N22, if you search that on Amazon, just make sure that you get the Chromebook version, because Lenovo makes the N22 with Windows 10 on it as well. The Chromebook version of this is $249. Today it's discounted to $198. This little guy is tough. Bought one last year, and they're almost indestructible. They're built for children. They're a little tight here. You can drop them, you can kick them. These things are virtually indestructible. 10 hours of battery life, 16 gigabytes of storage space, 4 gigabytes of RAM, HDMI, USB, SD card slot. Now, I use a program called Camel for tracking prices on Amazon, and you will see you'll see here that this has been down to $170. So you could get this unit, which would be a very good unit, for about $170. Again, don't forget the Chromebook Plus. Remember, I gave you that tip. I think this is going to be big drop in price for this. Now, I want to talk about Google Play on a Chromebook. There's a lot of confusion surrounding this, and let me explain this to you. About a year and a half ago, before the Consumer Electronics show started, Google announced an earth-shattering statement. They said that all Android apps from the Google Play Store would be available on the Chromebook, which it was crazy. I mean, that everything on the Play Store available on a Chromebook. This was a big job, bold statement, and a year and a half later, lots of changes have occurred, but it wasn't quite that easy to port all those apps over to the Chromebook. So you will find that some of all the new Chromebooks that you buy now, you'll be able to open up the Play Store right on your Chromebook, and all your apps will work. On some of the older Chromebooks that have been around, that won't work. And to find out which computer if you're buying an older Chromebook and you want to check and see if it will run the Android apps, this is the website that you can go to, and it will list all the Chromebooks and which ones will run the Play Store apps and which ones won't. Now, what software comes with a Chromebook? You don't have to buy anything. It's all included in the low price I've just mentioned. If you look up on the top left side, you have to remember as well is that all the applications that come with a Chromebook are available on any of your devices now. It doesn't matter whether you have a cell phone, a tablet, an iPhone. They're all available now for you through Chrome. Just to let you know that 15 gigabytes of free storage with your account, and it's just one sign-in, Google sign-in, and that opens up all your whole Google account. Within the Google Drive, you'll find very good programs for documents, presentations, spreadsheets, forms, and drawing. All this is included in Google Drive for you to be used, and free of charge. It will come with Google Photos pre-installed, your calendar, and Gmail. All of this will be pre-installed on your Chromebook for free. I wanted to talk a little bit now about some confusing terms people have, and I want to just clarify this because these sometimes get confusing. I talked about the Google Play Store, and these have Android apps, and you'll recognize this by this Google Play button here. I want to talk about Google Chrome web apps, which occur at the Chrome App Store. I want to talk about Google Chrome extensions, which are an adjunct to the Chrome browser, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Chrome operating system. If you take, and this is a screenshot of my Chrome browser, which you all should have, about 65% of the world today uses Chrome. I bet not very many of you have ever come over to the left and looked at this little button here on the left-hand side. Sometime today, I want you to open your Chrome browser, and I want you to click on this, and it's going to pop up another menu, and this menu is what you see down here. And you're going to see these are what we call Chrome web apps. And if you click on this little button here called the Web Store, it's going to take you to the Chrome Web Store. Now, in the Chrome Web Store, you will be able to load apps or extensions. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but apps are programs, extensions are add-ons to Chrome to make it work better. And here you'll see some of the extensions that you can load, and you'll see the apps. Now, I'm going to tell you that in the Chrome Web Store that there are a lot of applications that many applications that you will use, and I can't possibly imagine you needing more than you'll find in the Chrome Web Store. This is why I don't think it is really that important that you need to run the Android, that you need to go to the Play Store to download the Play Store apps, because you'll find almost all the things you'll need right in the Chrome Web Store. Again, Chrome web apps versus Chrome extensions. Chrome apps are found, they are not in the Play Store. They're independent programs loaded with your Google account, and your Chrome extensions are extensions on your browser. And again, just so that you go back, this is the little Play Store, and this has your Android apps. Now, just so that you are the cool thing, the greatest thing is when you get your first Chromebook, you turn it on. The only thing you have to do is log into your Chrome account. You put your Gmail username and password in, and bingo, all your G Drive, anything, all your apps, your extensions, anything that you've loaded into your Chrome browser are all there on your Chromebook. So there is no setup required for your Chromebook. Picking up where you left off, it's all there no matter what device you use. Easy to file share. I want to talk just briefly on printing. You will find if you want to print on your Chromebook, I'd like you to go to settings, and you can set up your older printers using the Google Cloud Print. And I'm going to leave some videos on that at the end of the presentation, some references for you. When you go to the store and when you go to Costco or wherever you're going to buy your printer, I'd like you to consider, if you're getting a new printer, is to look for this label. This is called Google Cloud Print Ready. And not to be confused with an AirPrint, which is an Apple, but you'll see these labels found on almost all printers that are produced now. And this means it's ready for your Chromebook. It's Cloud Print Ready. So watch for that little label, and if you have a Chromebook, make sure you buy your printer with that on it. Just in finalizing this now, where to purchase your Chromebook? Good question. Very good question. I spend my Sundays with a buddy of mine, and we go around to different technology, to Best Buy, Walmart. I like to ask salesmen try to figure out how much they know. And I'm going to tell you, if you go to Best Buy, they usually have 2 or 3 Chromebooks there. The salesman may say to you something that they're low-end computers. You have to be hooked to the internet to use them. Usually their knowledge about Chromebooks isn't very good. Neither of those 2 statements were true. If you go to Walmart, they usually have two units on sale or for display there, and I would go there, and you can look at them, touch them, feel them, and sort of get an idea of what you want, but you're not going to get much information from the salespeople. I want you to consider online. One of the things that all these stores have is huge online presence, and Best Buy has a big online presence with lots of versions of Chromebooks to buy. This is a really good place to buy them. Also, Walmart has a huge electronic online presence now, and almost all the Chromebook models are now offered with Walmart online. And of course, my favorite is Amazon. Everything is always on Amazon. And here's my buddy and I on a Sunday morning, and this will be in a Walmart store. And here's the Chromebook, and you'll see for $169 or $199. And we're goofing around with these and having a look at the different models. Here are some references to Chromebook. I've just put these down. These are how to set up classic printing with a Chromebook, preparing to switch to a Chromebook, and getting things done with a Chromebook. If you simply click on those links, it'll take you to the videos, and they're YouTube videos, and they're good references. So in summary, I'd like to thank my 6-month-old grandson, Julian, for helping me prepare this topic. He had good insight and comments and suggestions for me. And I'm going to turn it over now to any questions people have.
Well, and there are some, because this is quite new. You just touched barely, but somebody wanted to know if they could use the Chromebook because they do some accounting and spreadsheet work.
Oh, okay. So the question then would be accounting and spreadsheet. Now, I'm just wondering what software they're going to be using. If you're talking about spreadsheets, yeah, that's not a problem. But if you had a specific accounting software that was Windows-based, then that would be a problem. Now, it would not work. The only thing that I can say, no matter what accounting program you're using now, they all have web-based versions of it. Whether you're using Quicken or whatever version, they all the software and I think this is the way of the future. They all have a web-based version. So rather than loading it as it just isn't going to load as a Windows-based program. So you'd have to look and see if the company offered a web-based version.
And that also led to a question about Microsoft Office on a Chromebook.
Oh yeah, sure. That's not a problem at all. But you remember, that's a common question. Remember, you have Office 365 is primarily a web-based program. So you're not going to be installing Office as a Windows product on a Chromebook. You're going to be using Office as a web-based application. Now there are lots of, but you can work offline. In other words, there are it doesn't matter whether you're using a spreadsheet or Word or what you're doing. There are all offline apps for that, and they'll just allow you to do your work on your Chromebook, and then when you're back online, it will sync back to the online version of your 365.
Let's see. Someone said they had heard that the Chrome browser is less secure and concerned about doing that.
65% of the world uses the Chrome browser now, and it's the Chrome browser is just increasing popularity every day. I don't think that is true. I think the Chrome browser is very secure. That's a whole other topic in itself, but I don't think that's true.
The person who gets a Chromebook and has an old printer, I think I know the answer, but can old printers be refitted to work with Chrome cloud printing?
Yeah, there shouldn't be a problem with that as long as your old printer's on your network. It needs to be on your network at home, your Wi-Fi network, and then you should be able to print with it.
Okay, because it's really not that the printer is the cloud; it's connected to the cloud that way.
Right, and that's the issue, right?
Yeah. So then, and also, you're presenting this presentation to focus on seniors and seniors who may not be as high productivity people, so that somebody who does a lot of photo editing probably is not going to be a Chrome user because you might have limited online editing.
I guess it would depend if you're doing what you're editing. If you're using, for example, if you're a big Photoshop user, and my wife's a big photographer and she has all the equipment, she's an expert at Photoshop, and if you spend your whole life using Photoshop, well, that's you probably would have to use the Photoshop Online version to be able to use it, because it's probably not gonna run on your Chromebook. But for example, Google Photos is pre-installed on all Chromebooks. Snapseed, which is a photo editing software, is available and can be used on a Chromebook, and that's used very commonly with Google Photos. And also there's Photoshop. What's it called? There's a version of Photoshop for Chrome, and it can be used to edit the pictures as well. So it really depends, I guess, on what you're using. And I guess if you get into movies, which are really large files, then you run into some problems.
Okay, speed round here. Can you use Chromebook for programming?
Like what would you be programming?
I imagine, not HTML stuff that you can do in text-based, but
I don't see why not. I mean, I'm not quite sure. I don't do programming, and so I'm really not an expert on that. But the only thing the Chromebook isn't going to do is it's not going to run Windows software. So anything you're going to do in programming that runs Windows software, it's not going to work.
Okay. Real quick, for those who are gamers, can you access game sites on Chromebook?
Yep. Games, you can certainly do that. I'm not sure if you are a hardcore gamer. I'm not sure that a Chromebook is probably going to be a useful tool for you.
Yeah. Just to clarify, the TPM chip, that comes with the Chromebook. You don't have to buy that extra and add that. Right. Okay.
That's right. That's right. In fact, you can actually take the Chrome operating system and you can put it on old PCs, and you can actually make you can make a PC run the Chrome operating system, but it's not really a Chromebook because it doesn't have that chip in it and doesn't have the security.
Mm-hmm. And that's good. One last thing, if I do not have reliable internet service, is there software to use mostly offline with storage on the Chromebook?
Yes, yes. All, including the whole Google Suite, is all available offline. So you can do your work offline and then hook up to. And then as soon as you connect back to the internet, then you're away to the races.
Okay, and one final, this can be kind of grouped together, and then there may be more questions that Judy will send you to answer, and we'll email back out because we're running out of time. You already said that you plug in a external monitor, which is no problem. Same for adding a USB mouse and a keyboard.
Oh yeah. So there's no problem with that. I mean, first of all Chromebooks have Bluetooth, so you could add. So my suggestion would be, if you want to add an extra keyboard or a mouse, I would use that. I would buy a Bluetooth connection, and the reason is because Chromebooks often come only with one USB 3 port. So if you take a USB mouse, one with the little dongle you put in, and then you can use it as it will work too, but you're going to plug up your one USB. So you might want to look at using a Bluetooth option.